Hey, it's Mirella, Artistic Ambassador for Kenra Professional, and today I'm going to show you a modern color blocking technique using the brand new gold violet shades from the Monochrome Collection. So before we get started, I wanted to walk you through what we're going to do to Tyla's hair, and we really loved the way her natural base is looking, but we wanted to brighten up her face a little bit. So this is where we're going to do a lot of bold pieces throughout the front, and then do a color melting technique and a color blocking technique throughout the back. So let me go ahead and show you how we're gonna section her out. Because we're gonna create a really bold piece throughout the front, what I like to do is comb the hair and just kind of see where it naturally falls and where it's gonna naturally split. So this is a great guide here for me for where I want that bold piece. So this is the triangular piece that we're gonna work with throughout the front that's gonna give her that really nice bold money piece. For the next section that we're gonna create, I'm actually gonna create another triangle, and I'm gonna utilize this corner here to go up to the parietal ridge, and then I'm just gonna bring that right on down. So this is the triangular section that we just created, and as you can see, it goes right behind the ear. And this is also gonna contribute to that money piece and make it blend right on down through the ends. So for her final section, what we're gonna do back here is one more triangle on the occipital region. And we're just gonna utilize her occipital bone as a guide. And then we're gonna take that right where the head starts to curve up here. We're completely done sectioning Tyla, so let me go ahead and walk you through what we're gonna do within each of the sections. So right here on this top money piece and for these side triangle sections, we're gonna be utilizing Beyond Bond Lightener in the Simply Blonde collection and doing a little bit of back-to-back highlights as well as some baby lights. And then for this center section here, the interesting section that we got going on, that's where we're gonna utilize the new gold violet shades in the Monochrome collection. So we're actually gonna color melt her from a 7 GV right into 9 GV. For this last section, this is where the color blocking is gonna come into play and add a little bit more contrast to her look. So we're actually gonna put in 7 GV from roots to ends. We're gonna get started on the money piece first. So what I'm gonna do here is actually put 3 back-to-back baby lights. And what I like to do is brush the hair completely back and then bring those highlights towards me. So what I'm using is Simply Blonde Beyond Bond Lightener at a 1:2 mixing ratio with 20 volume developer. And the reason why I love this lightener so much is because she has previous highlights and I want to make sure to protect her blonde. And so since it has its dual bond technology, I know I have a little bit of buying time while her color is processing. Now I'm just gonna do one more baby light back to back. So there's no subsections right in this front because I want that really nice and bold and blonde. Now that I got the 3 back-to-back baby lights, I'm gonna move on and start incorporating some subsections. So these are gonna be 1/8 of an inch wide subsections, and then I'm gonna highlight right over that. So there will be some hair in between each of the foils, and I'm actually gonna start to color melt utilizing the 7 GV and tap that right onto the base just to create a little bit of root and then blend that right into my Beyond Bond Lightener. A quick pro tip is when you're foiling and utilizing a color melt within your foil, it's great to tri-fold, and that way you're not gonna allow for that color that's on the ends to touch the top part of where that color melt is at. So it's just gonna keep the 2 colors together, then giving a nice clean canvas for it to lay on top of. So for this side triangular section, we're gonna replicate exactly what we did here in this triangular section, but we're gonna do 3 back-to-back vertical highlights, and then we're gonna start going in diagonally with the rooted baby lights. So now what we're gonna do in this remaining section is we're gonna go in diagonally until we meet to the top of this triangle, and we're gonna do those rooted highlights that we created on that top triangle. So a little tip when doing blending with color into lightener is you're gonna want to apply your color right onto the root first, and then apply your lightener just a few inches away from where the color's at, and then gently and swiftly flick your wrist and blend those two colors together. And I really like utilizing a brush that has a little feathered tip to it, like my Fermar brush. And then you can perfect it even further by stroking it down and blending it. Now I got Tyla's foils completely finished, and I did the same exact technique on the opposite side. Now we're gonna get ready to apply her color throughout the rest of her hair. And just to keep it a little clean, I'm gonna start on the back and the bottom and mix up 7GV 1:1 with 20 volume developer. Now I got her 7GV processing back here. I'm gonna cover it up with some foil. So the reason is because once we start working on this top section here, we're gonna do a color melt of 7GV into the 9GV, and I really don't want those two colors to touch. So this is gonna protect that 9GV color, so we're just gonna separate it up a little bit. So I went ahead and split this top section in half, but when I'm working with these sections, I'm gonna crisscross it over so it isolates itself from this 7GV section that we put on. To get started, I'm just gonna take a diagonal section right here because I always wanna work from the bottom up. Now I'm gonna get that 7GV right onto the roots, and I'm just painting this on the first couple inches because we are going to color melt this right into that 9GV. I also really love the Monochrome collection, mostly because it has a really beautiful saturated finish. Now, a little tip on color melting. What I like to do for this type of application is just bring that down that 2 inches or so, and then I'm gonna utilize that brush that has a comb on it to help bring that color down, and then blend in the 9GV. The most important part when working with permanent color and pulling it through the ends is to make sure that you have a nice saturation of your product. So in order to ensure that, a little technique that I really like to do is just kind of really work this product in to make sure we really get in between on all sides of the hair. Because remember, the hair is round. We want to make sure we really get in there. So what I'm doing now in between these foils is I applied that 7GV, same way we color melted back here, but just in between the foils. And I applied all of my 7GV first to bring up the foils. And now when I work my way back down and bringing the foils down, I'm gonna go ahead and blend that right into my 9GV. And again, it's just to keep it nice and clean as you're working and also comfortable for your client. Now I'm completely done with Tyla's application. So we're gonna process her for just 30 minutes. And here's the final result of our modern color blocking technique. Overall, I loved how this turned out, and you can really see the beautiful shine and saturated finish and controlled warm that we got from the new gold violet shades in the monochrome collection. I hope you enjoyed this modern color blocking technique, and I'll see you guys next time.